I think human minds are so very interesting. I think humans are the most interesting thing to ever grace this blue marble. I find them fascinating. The human mind is a beautifully irrational contraption, a lump of electrified fat that learns to ask a very simple question. We ask it in fan fictions. We ask it when we wonder if Naruto goes to the Akatsuki or if Goku gets stuck in a hyperbolic time chamber for 5 billion years. What if? Always a what if. What if I didn't go left and went right? What if I dated this girl? What if I fought my father? What if? And we think of what ifs. It's our favorite thing to think about. What if this happened? What if this happened? What if an alternate universe, back to the future, altering reality? What if? And we never quite recovered from that. You see, what if always has been, to me, a prediction engine. Just a prediction engine. Our brains have always tried to predict and gather all the social cues around us, trying to deduce and use a corkboard to find the screws and pieces and align things to figure out how the brain operates. That's what we've always done. Constantly trying to chew the future into little digestible bits. There's a great sick joke of our age that we have taken this magnificent fragile engine of story and all, not written it down. No, we haven't written down the what ifs. No, we have monetized the what ifs. Why have we done this to our most ancient and twitchy wiring? We have weaponized the what if. That is insane to do, and I don't think that's fun. Because in life, obviously, there are many moments and crossroads where you're going to look at something and always wonder the could'ves, would've, should'ves. And back in the day, we couldn't do that. Legally, of course, because we had to go to the ocean to guess on what ifs. They called it beyond the line. A line drawn in the wet mine of the Atlantic, west of the Azores, south of the Tropic of Cancer. A gentleman's agreement, scribbled on a map between empires that said, beyond this, there is no law. It was this legal black hole. A pocket of anarchy stitched into the high seas. That's what it was. That's what happened back in the day. And why did ships sail into the lawless brine? Why did they do that? Was it for spice? Was it for gold? No. That came later. Obviously, came later. It was for the dizzying thrill of a wager. You see, gambling back in the day was very illegal. Couldn't gamble anywhere, basically. So they went to the ocean to gamble. That's what they did. That's what it was. Think of it. Just think of how beautiful it is that we loved gambling so much as a species that it was illegal because we knew how bad it was. And then they said, well, there's no laws on the water. There's this thing in my brain that thinks of pirate ships and long voyages, months-long voyages. The world reduced to timber groans and a flat, featureless blue forever. That's the ocean. If you've ever been at seas for a long time, that's what it does. Then the captain produces a pack of cards, a dice cup. The ship itself becomes a floating back room, a den of speculation, where a man could lose his year's salary on the turn of a card, with no authority to appeal but the indifferent shark circling below. That is a pure, almost philosophical kind of madness. It was amazing. It was a gambling stripped to its skeleton. Risk, divorced from all the soothing lies of society. No church to condemn you. No wife to sigh in disappointment. Just you, your luck, in a vast, uncaring universe represented by a rolling die. This was the beginning of gambling. That is human nature. And I think that's something profoundly human about wanting to risk it all on a what if. Because what if it works? But you say to yourself, I see it. I see it inside of my brain, my mind's eye. You see it. We, collectively, are a series of domestication. We like being domesticated. That's why we got DoorDash and Uber Eats. That's why we try to have these square homes. Everything's square. Walls are square, phones are square, floor is square, desk is square, screen is square. A lot of squares everywhere. Not even the strongest shape in nature, but it's square. We love being domesticated. We like having neat little ducks in a row. That's why we have lines in the highway to know where people go. It's left and right. We got to make sure people are in line. That's why we have traffic lights. Domestication of our own selves. We can't bear pure wilderness for long. We hated it. We did everything in our power to escape the wilderness. Everything in our power. Be it of land or of consequence. So we built a cage around the wilderness. You know what we called it? Las Vegas. Boom, baby, Vegas. Woo! Oh, Vegas, baby. We carpeted it, air conditioned it, gave it free drinks. If you go to any casino, you can get free drinks. Did you know that? Not alcohol or liquor. No. I'm talking just regular soda and water. You can just get it. And then they gave the cute girls doing my blackjack cards. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, the cute guys doing my blackjack cards. Oh, my God, I just lost $7,000, but you're so cute. We made risk feel safe. Walk into a casino. Walk into one. Have you ever walked into a casino? It feels fun in there. It feels as if it's a carnival. Oh, it feels as though there's a circus master and a ringleader leading you on. You might even see a lion walking around, and the lion might punch you because the lion's actually a drunk man. But it's sanitary. It's fun. And that ocean, that lawless ocean, was tamed and brought indoors. The ocean, the physical ocean, we put it down. The psychic line was erased and redrawn around your wallets. What happened now? But now we have done something worse. Because back in the day, it was just casinos. You go to a casino. Oh, Vegas is debauchery. Vegas is everywhere now. We have performed the final miracle. We have made the ocean portable. We have miniaturized the casino, the card table, the spinning wheel, and placed it in the one thing we touch more than we touch each other. The shimmering rectangle in your pocket. The pocket-sized Atlantic. The lawless sea of what if you carry with you. You now have it forever. My father downloaded Kalshi. The reason I'm making this video is because he downloaded it. And I'm noticing that he bet on things that I didn't think was physically possible to bet on. His banking app has a reward center where he can do a spinning real roulette that does confetti where it does it, and it gives you bonuses on loans and advancements. Didn't think that was possible. Seems strange to have that. Just seems odd. Very strange. Everything is becoming a prediction market, such as Polymarket and Kalshi. You can bet on how many steps Donald Trump is going to take. You can bet on how many times he's going to say You can bet on Joe Biden appearing in the news, or Donald Trump saying the word Biden or blaming Democrats. You can bet on famous people getting together. You can bet on anything. Whether you think it's stupid, whether you think it's interesting. You can bet on streamers taking bathroom breaks. I'm not joking. This is very serious. This is what it is. Everything. The what ifs are all happening because that's our most primal function. To guess. If you've ever been on fanfiction.net, you will see a variety of what ifs. If you've ever been on there, you will see, what if I was friends with Sonic? What if Shrek punched me in the stomach? What if My Little Pony was in real world and it combined with our own? Everything is in this what if market. That was very human. We've always been curious about what we don't have or what would happen if we did have it. We've always been curious what other people had in our lives. That's what we've functioned on this principle for so long. The same escape from the slow grinding narrative of your life. That's what it was. The abyss comes to you. And it has so many friendly fonts offering splashy reward spins. It is your weather app coyly suggesting you might predict the high temperature in Tampa. It is your sports app turning every human triumph and agony into a live updating spreadsheet of point spreads. And I think it started with sports betting apps. That's where it was most big. DraftKings and sports bets and all this stuff. But guess what? It's gone beyond that. They realized how profitable sports betting was, and they guessed, oh, humans will bet on anything. We have outsourced our awe. We have taken the fundamental, terrifying uncertainty of being alive. Will it rain? Will he win? Will she love me? Will I be enough? Oh my God. And we have given it this ticker symbol. We have built prediction markets where you can bet on the number of times a world leader will sniffle or the collapse date of a supermarket chain. It is a frantic, desperate attempt to colonize the future, to lay claim to chaos. If everything has odds, then nothing is truly surprising. And humans hate being surprised, right? If you can bet on doom, well then doom becomes just another asset class. It's this emotional taxidermy we're doing to our own what-if brains. It's an attempt to stuff and mount that amazing butterfly effect of chance, to pin it to a dish, to say, see? I knew its wingspan all along. Foolish, foolish, foolish. I hate that it runs on such a pathetic fuel. The variable reward schedule. We are pigeons in a Skinner box of our own making, pecking at a screen that might give us a digital pellet. Our ancient brainstem, the part that learned, check this berry bush. Sometimes there are berries. Well, now it has been hijacked. It is now convinced that checking Twitter for likes is foraging, that pulling a digital lever of a free spin is hunting. We have lost that. We are using the hardware of survival to play a game where the only thing dying is our attention, our time, our quiet capacity to just be without a potential payout. We have lost that because I could be making money. And this has been the blueprint all along with grinding culture. You got to grind forever. If you're not making money, you're wasting time. And you're falling into these traps, these pitfalls, because these small online communities of 2 million, and you see, oh, well, 2 million people think it, that must be majority, but it's just 2 million when the majority don't think that. 2 million is very small in the grand scheme of things because it keeps going over and over and over again. That's what happens. Why? Because the slow accruing narrative of a life well built is a story that has lost its prestige. It's a boring story. There's no jackpot sequence, no trumpet fanfare. Gambling is the fantasy of narrative acceleration. I want to explain something to you. Picture this, if you will, right? Say you got $500 and you said, I'm going to bet half of this, and you lose. But then you bet the other half and you win 750. You start to think, if I bet the whole 500 on the second hand, I would have won $1,000. And you let that eat away at you, right? So you do it again. You bet half. 750 half, right? So now you're at 375. I know that's math for you. It's a little bit difficult. You lose the first hand, but you win the second hand. And now you have $850 when you started with 500. And you think to yourself, if I would have bet the entire thing, I would have had $1,250. I would have had $1,250. So you start thinking, man, oh goodness, I keep losing money. But you started with 500, you have 850. You should leave the table. But the house always wins. Never forget that. House always wins. So you bet the whole thing on the next hand. And despite everything, you win $2,500. And that's your first day in the casino. You told everybody it's your first day at the casino. And you say, I should walk away from the table. But then a pretty girl looks at you and says, oh, you should gamble again. And so you think, well, if I do half, I always lose the first time I do half. Because we're pattern-seeking creatures. I always lose the first time I do half. I won when I went all in. So you bet the entire $2,500. You bet all of it. Boom. Got it all. And you lose. You don't have any money. But what if you won? There's a guy over there betting that you would lose on the next hand, so he just won $5,000. From another guy who was betting that you'd lose. Or betting that you'd win. Betting that you win. They bet you win. It was over. Because gambling is, for a loser and an idiot, same with the lottery, a cheat code. The Deus Ex Machina. For the person who feels like an extra in their own life, a bet offers a chance, however fictional, to be the protagonist. The one who beat the house, who outsmarted the universe. It is the roar of agency in a world that offers the most garbage outcomes for you. It's mostly paperwork. That's it. Sometimes you get rejected from a job and you get an email about that. It's not about predicting anymore. It's about infecting. And it's messing me up. It's messing me up really bad. When you attach a dollar value to an outcome, you do not merely create observers. They are now stakeholders. And a stakeholder has an incentive to rewrite the entire story of a paragraph. Right? That's what they do. A person with money on, there's rain in Chicago, is no longer just a person with an umbrella hoping there's no rain. They're a person who might, in some small pathetic way, start wishing for rain. Oh, if it rains today, I get $700. Oh, this is great. They might become an amateur cloud seeder of their own future. Bet on a political scandal. Suddenly, you have financial stake in human misery. Well, if humans are miserable, I get money. This is great. You are a passive, pocket-sized supervillain. Your villainy is not big. It's a quiet hope that the world proves a little more corrupt, a little more tragic, so your digital number can go up. That's what it does. That's it. That's a simple thing of that matter. That's all that's going to happen. I am disgusted by this simply because it is everywhere now. Had it not been everywhere, I wouldn't have made a video about it. So many other YouTubers have made videos about. I'm aware of the other YouTubers. I believe Quite had made a video. I believe Atrioc made a video about this. There's so many other people that have already talked about the gambling epidemic everywhere. Drew Gooden made a video about it. But I wanted to talk on this because I need to talk about this. There's so many thoughts that exist inside of my brain, and I thought to myself, what if I never spoke about it? That's what I thought. I thought, what if I never spoke about it? But now, I have to. Because it has infected ways and shapes of my life that I never thought humanly possible. It's affected my family, my father in particular, who is an idiot in his own respective rights. He's losing countless dollars, thinking that he doesn't have a gambling addiction. I'm watching my friends gain and garner gambling addictions to DraftKings. I'm watching people that I hold dearly say that they would never enter a casino, but they have already entered the casino because the casino is everywhere. I'm watching people that never would have considered betting all this money and buy lottery tickets because they've won a hand of blackjack online with crypto. I am watching this everywhere. We are creating a world where reality has a live odds ticker. We are pricing the apocalypse. When you put a price on something, well, you create a market for it. You create customers for catastrophe. The mindset shifts from, how do we prevent this disaster? Into, what are the disaster's odds looking like this quarter? There are people betting on a recession. There are people betting on Trump's death. There are people betting on if 50 Cent will get a documentary made about himself. There are people betting on if we're getting a new season of anime. There are people betting on what certain people are going to wear. There are people betting on domestic violence. There are people betting on everything. Gambling turns you into a tour in your own existence. It shouldn't do that. If you have to bet on your step count, you are not taking a walk. You are this factory foreman watching the production line of your own legs. You have lost living in a moment. You are futures trading it. If you could live stream your entire life and people bet on it, you become a Truman Show. The Truman Show is such a warning. And I think the best scene in the entire Truman Show, if you've never seen it, Truman Show is about Jim Carrey. His whole life, he has lived for the adoration of audiences. He lives in a small town where he never leaves, ever. And he is being filmed ever since birth, the entire way through. His entire life has been commodified. He was the first original streamer. And that was a horrifying reality. He escapes at the end of the movie. And you would think that people would say, hooray, he escaped. But it's framed as this comedy. Here goes the most tragic thing in the Truman Show. The Truman Show's over at the end, right? Show's over. And everybody else flips to the next channel. and they keep going with their life. That's it. That's all that happened. And I think that's the best scene in fiction. I think it's the best scene in reality. I think that's the best scene in any movie ever. Because it's real. It's the realest thing I've ever seen. Because they just kept going. That's what happened. That's it. You have ceased to become a human being. And you become a human betting. The house always wins. It's not even because the odds are cleverly set. The house is selling you the most addictive drug in history. The chance to live in the shivering fever dream. I said shivering. I meant shimmering. But they both work. Because almost is never enough. Ariana Grande, I believe. And is instead of the complicated, just messy, disastrous, beautiful, chaotic, complex, whatever word you want to attach to this, and often heartbreaking life you want to live, they are selling you anticipation and buying your patience in return. You are trading your one life for the electric thrill of watching the wheel spin. And the wheel is everything now. The wheel is the world. And we are leaning in, breath held, hearts pounding, waiting for it to stop. I'm so annoyed that everything is gambling. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse.
I'm your Nick and Night, be my lover, low. Ooh, happy to try what you need. Your world, I love to live in it. Ooh, I love the ride when you're free.